It is Thursday night. It's March 16th, 2023, on the eve of the Boilermakers' first round matchup against the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. I don't remember what their nickname is off the top of my head. FDU for short. I'm Tanner Lee, along with my co-host Evan Webb. Feels good to be back on the pod. Feels like I haven't done one of these in quite a while.
Yeah, we missed you last time, so I know you and I did one last week with our good friend Adam, Full Steam Ahead pod, but you haven't been on a Boiler Breakdown since before the second Indiana game.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Been a long time, but thanks for holding down the fort while I was gone for that episode. Like you said, we were on the Full Steam Ahead last week, kind of doing a Big Ten tournament preview, so we didn't do one of our own. But here we are tonight. We're going to recap the Big Ten tournament a little bit and then get right into NCAA tournament round one matchup for the Boilers, and look, maybe we'll look ahead a little bit in our crystal ball. But Boilermakers got it done in Chicago. Got what they went there for, and got it done. Swept the Big Ten championships, regular season and Big Ten tournament for the first time in school history. So just more accolades for this group to hang their hat on this year, no matter what happens from here on out.
Absolutely, but first Big Ten championship since 2009. I can't believe 14 years. That's wild, because I was there when we beat Ohio State in 2009 with Baby Boilers in their sophomore year. We've obviously been there a few times, championship wise. Handful. I mean, Painter's record is what 1-4, 1-5 in the championship.
Yeah, we lost lost last year in Indy to Iowa. We lost at Mass Square Garden to Michigan. Then we lost in Indy also to Michigan State, the Little Rock year.
Yep. So yeah, we've been there, just haven't closed it out. But it was nice to see. We tried to make it a little interesting towards the end, but
sure.
But it was nice to see them close it out. And yeah, like you said, for team, looking back to last year's team who had chances to win the regular season championship, had a chance to win the Big Ten tournament, had a chance to make a run in the tournament, couldn't do it. It was nice for this team to at least have something to hang their head on. Looking back, so won the Big Ten by 3 games, and then won the Big Ten, tournament. So it's undisputed Big Ten champs this year, which is pretty good for a rebuilding year.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. "Quote unquote" rebuilding year, 5th or 6th in the Big Ten preseason rankings by most of the experts. So it's been a fun year, no matter what happens from here on out. But hopefully, there's a lot more basketball to be played for our Boilermakers. Hopefully, 6 more games.
Absolutely.
Hopefully 6 more games. But go back to that Penn State game. You talked about how it got a little hairy at the end. Struggled with the press a little bit, and I know that's a lot of our fan base's concerns with the press. But my concern wasn't so much with the press; it's missing open shots and potential game-clinching free throws late.
Right, 100%. I'm with you, because I think if you even look at the metrics, I don't have them right in front of me, but I know when you look at Purdue versus the press versus not versus press, our turnovers aren't that much different. Obviously they're up a little bit against the press, but nothing like you'd think reading the message boards or talking to anybody. You think they were night and day difference. But yeah, I think it's compounded by the fact that we're missing shots and are missing free throws. So then if we do turn it over, then it tightens up, and we could have extended the lead to 6 or 7 points. Now it's instead now it's a 3 or 4 point lead. And they get a layup or whatever it may be. So I think it's definitely more so just the missed free throws in key situations is what's really hurting the team down the stretch.
And I also think we don't have a lot of guys who want the ball in late game situations against the press. We got a couple guys who definitely don't want it. We got one guy who wants it, but then he panics when he gets it. And we just haven't been able to identify guys who want the ball, can get it aggressively with a cut, and then make free throws. So, because tomorrow against Fairleigh Dickinson, they're going to probably press a lot. They're going to spread it out. They're going to fire threes from all over the place because their tallest guy, I believe, 6'6". So they're going to play us a lot like North Texas did in 2020 or 2021, I should say.
Yep. Although we're definitely a little bit better defensive team as we were back then. But yeah, then you look at the flip side, their defense isn't very good. KenPom, they're one of the worst in the country, and we're top 10, or not, we're not top 10 anymore, but, top 20 offensive efficiency. So like that. But yeah, I think it's a matter of just, start out early, kind of like we saw what Duke's doing or Oral Roberts tonight, is just come out, just, leave nothing, assert your dominance as, because people, for being a 1 seed, Purdue's getting a lot of disrespect. I mean, some of it's definitely warranted with how they've performed as of late. But I mean, they're still a 1 seed, but I feel like people are treating them like they're a 5 seed going into a 12 seed right now. So I think you just go out and just leave no doubt right away, kind of break their spirit.
Well, I think on top of Fairleigh Dickinson's coach's comments last night, and then seeing upsets today, like the 4-13 Furman beating Virginia, which wasn't as big as the 2-15 upset of Princeton over Arizona. That one in particular should have got Purdue's attention today, I would think.
100%, yeah.
I would think. So, I mean, it's one of those games that wouldn't shock me if it's close midway through the first half, or maybe even a game that's not quite out of reach yet at halftime tomorrow.
I feel like you see that a lot with 16s and 1s. It's like, the 16 seed comes out and nothing to lose. In the first half, it might be a 5-10 point game, and then the second half, then water kind of finds its level in the 1 seed usually.
Right.
Away with it more often than not.
And, it's going to be interesting how the officials officiate Zach Edey. That's always a big question mark going into March, because I hate to say it, but Purdue's probably most dependent on how they're going to be officiated for wins and losses. And also, who's going to hit three-pointers? Because to win the whole thing, to make a run to the Final Four and win national championship, you have to be able to hit three-pointers. And who's that going to be? Is David Jenkins still going to have the hot hand like he did in Chicago? Is Fletcher Lawyer finally going to get going, even though it really sounds like he's banged up with not only calf, but banged up his knee a little bit? Guys like Ethan Morton, Mason Gillis, are they going to be able to make open looks because they get a lot of them? So Caleb First gets a lot of them. So just got to find a couple guys who can start knocking them down, because if Purdue can knock down some threes on top of how Edey's playing, it's going to be a very dangerous out.
Yeah, I think we can just have, we don't really need anybody to go 5 of 6 or 5 of 7. We just need just a couple guys just to hit a few, just to keep it honest, I think right now I'm probably most confident in Jenkins right now, maybe Newman, and then probably Braden in that order. Again, have Braden hit a couple, if Mason can hit 1 or 2, if Ethan can hit, just keeps, because they're definitely teams are sagging off him more than anybody. But I think if you can just get 1 or 2 from each of those guys, and then maybe Fletcher can go 3 of 8 or something, I think that's what we need.
Yep. Yeah, because if this Purdue team could find their form like they had in November and December, might seriously be talking about cutting down the nets in Houston. But that was a long time ago. They're a different team now. A lot of teams they've played in the past that they could see here in a couple games from now, potentially Duke, Marquette. They're different teams than they were in November. So even Gonzaga, who's on the opposite side of the bracket, different team than they were in November. So it does make me laugh, though, when experts act like sometimes when they pick Duke or Purdue, they act like they don't even know that they played already this season, and that Purdue got the best of them pretty easily. But that's neither here nor there, really. But looking back on the season for a moment, what are going to be some of the memories you have of this season, aside from winning the Big Ten regular season championship and winning the tournament championship, like plays, games, etc.?
You got to start with the PK 80, whatever, PK 85, whatever it was called, having a little bit of a scare versus West Virginia, obviously coming, that was the closest game we played in that whole little tournament. But just wanting to get that going into that, just get that first win, just so you play most likely Gonzaga, just so you can play someone. Because going into the year, we were thinking, outside of who they could play in that, their non-con wasn't great. We had Marquette, who was, picked to finish 8th in the Big East.
Yeah, looking back,
they were not, but it was hey, it's a decent team for this squad. For this Purdue team, it was a good matchup. After we got that win, it was okay, cool. That's it's a good win. We got it at home. It was kind of a grinded out game. Knowing the Shaka style, they got through that, knowing with freshman guards. But then going and beating West Virginia, and then playing Gonzaga, and then getting down early and just oh God, just don't get run out of the gym. And then all of a sudden it's they're running away with this thing, and then couple that with winning the Big Ten West in football on Saturday, and then on Sunday playing Duke, and then Fletcher Lawyer's just throwing daggers on, the most prominent name in all of college basketball probably, and Purdue just ran away with that again. And it was so cool. And then just kind of the train was off and running from there. Yeah,
Purdue's the only Power 5 school to play in both their conference championship for football and basketball. So we definitely shouldn't have taken this sports calendar here for granted.
Yeah. I think another thing I think of is, Two come to mind because they were earlier in the year, and I think it definitely kind of set up the run they had was Fletcher hitting the shot at Ohio State,
100%,
and then Edie's like really good move at Michigan State to go up by 2. Like those were, looking back. I mean, we talk about 50-50 games, losing to IU only by 5 or whatever, losing. Trying to think what other games. Rutgers by essentially a last second shot. Like, but then we also had some of these games where it took, it took the Boilers to have a kind of some heroics towards the end that could have went the other way, and obviously could have changed the season dramatically. Obviously February was a bit rough. That's probably honestly what I remember right now the most, just February and just the struggles that Purdue had. But I mean, you can't take away what the run that they had leading up to it.
Right. I'm glad you brought the Ohio State game up. Also, the Nebraska game in December, the overtime win. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people don't talk. I think that's a game last year's team probably doesn't find a way to win. Mm-hmm. But this team battled.
Or did not overtime. Yeah, probably.
Could not shoot it that day. Could not take the lid off the rim, but found a way to get it done. Mm-hmm. And then
dunks it.
And then I still wish we could have the last 5 minutes back of the Northwestern game.
Yep.
Because I felt like that put the team in a bad funk for a little bit.
I agree.
But in the end, they stepped out of it and got the job done when they needed to do so, and won their 25th Big Ten regular season title and their second Big Ten tournament title in school history. So, like I said, no matter what happens starting tomorrow going forward, it's been a successful season. But this team, why not this team? Why can't this team go to the Final Four? Why can't this team go to the national championship and win it all? I think CBS today did a thing at one of the games. They broke it down to 10 teams they thought had a legitimate chance to win it all, and we are one of the 10 teams.
Right.
So
was Arizona.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were, which I knew not to pick them too far. They have been the program in my past that just busts my bracket all the time. Yeah, and I just don't trust them.
I had no forethought, or that's not the right word, but I did not go into making my brackets as like I'm picking Arizona.
Didn't have any intention to, yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I watched Arizona a few times. They beat UCLA in the Pac-12 championship. I believe Arizona won the Maui, which was an incredible field of teams. I was like. And I watched them, kind of take it to Indiana and Las Vegas in the second half. Like they had some really good big men. They got some really good pieces. I know they've kind of struggled in some aspects, but I was like, man, I really like this team. And then I was actually at the gym, and I pulled up my phone afterwards. And I was kind of just looking at scores, and I was like, hold the phone, like they're my brackets, because I probably had Arizona either in the Final Four or the final game, and probably 75% of my brackets. So that's been fun.
Yeah, yep. I've been burnt by them too often. I had them in Sweet 16. I actually have Creighton coming out of that region, which I'm feeling better about. But I don't know if they can. I don't know if they can get past Bama. But
yeah. But I was struggling to pick. I was like, but I know they struggled so much this year. I know they had some injuries too, but I was like, man, they could be an easy sneaky pick, but just couldn't do it.
Yep. Big Ten struggling today. Maryland got a win, but we've seen Illinois lose already. It looks like Iowa's got to lose. They're down
2 minutes to go, or 10 minutes to go.
Yep. Northwestern's up 2, but there's about 12.5 left in that one. And then Penn State plays tonight.
Illinois lost to Arkansas.
In a game that Arkansas kind of just jumped on them and didn't really let them breathe. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. We got a comment here from Thad Mooney. 16.3 million brackets busted after the Arizona game. Yep.
Unincluded.
Yep. I believe it. So it's been an interesting tournament today. We saw Furman, unbelievable finish to that game, beating Virginia. Everybody's darling upset pick of Charleston didn't come to fruition. Kind of thought that was going to happen.
I did not pick them. I think it might have been like one of my side brackets where I just go crazy with it just to see what happens. But like mostly I didn't pick too many upsets. I maybe did like Penn State as a 10 seed winning. I did not pick. As I said in our group chat, I think I picked 3 Big Ten teams to advance past the first round, being Purdue, Indiana, and Penn State. So
I went Big Ten heavy in the first round. I will admit I had more of them winning than I didn't, but I only have 3 in the Sweet 16. Purdue, Indiana. I actually have Penn State in my Sweet 16. I have them beating Texas. I just think if they go bombs away and make it, they could beat anybody.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But that was my Big Ten homer in me, and it's not working out very well. Which leads me to believe, I mean, is that any cause of concern for Purdue? I mean, Purdue is the Big Ten regular season champ, Big Ten tournament champ, but when we see these Big Ten teams struggling outside of Big Ten play, is that a cause for concern at all, or am I just overthinking those?
I think overthinking a little bit. I mean, at least in the first round. Obviously, second round, I'm a little nervous. We never touched on it, but I hate Purdue's draw. I think looking at Indiana, I would take their draw in a heartbeat. I feel like with they get the late game tomorrow, so no fans from opposing teams are going to stick around most likely. They play Kent State, which could be a troubling matchup. But then they play a banged up Miami to potentially play a banged up Houston and/or Iowa or Auburn versus Purdue playing.
And don't count out Drake against Miami either.
That's true, yeah. Or 12 seed Drake versus us with play a team of Memphis that has 11 seniors, or an FAU team that's won 30 games this year.
Which I think, I'm starting to think it might be FAU because everybody's already saying it's going to be Memphis. A lot of people are picking Memphis, and I'm like, FAU. Everybody's sleeping on FAU. So we already beat them in football, so why not beat them in basketball too? Yeah. Barely beat them in football.
I think if you look at going back to your question, cause of concern, I think as the Big Ten as a whole, I mean, you kind of saw it in November. Things kind of changed a little bit, and maybe I can't remember if it was November or December. Where we started out where it was like Big Ten was like, oh, Big Ten's not that great. It was like, oh, maybe Big Ten's pretty good, but then it was like, oh, maybe not. I think it's kind of the same thing where it's like, I mean, you look at Purdue, we kind of ran through our non-conference without too much trouble, so maybe that's bodes well going into it. But it's crazy just how Big Ten just a rock fight every night, and then you get out of it. You think you're like, oh, we can breathe, but then it's like you're just gassed.
And the Big Ten office has to be pulling for us because, I mean, they haven't won a championship since 2000, and every year it's the same thing. Like, why can't we win in the tournament? Well, we're kind of seeing that trend continue as of right now. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens.
I want to bring up because we've kind of already talked about it a little bit, but I put a poll up. If you haven't gone to our Twitter page already, I did put.
It's at Boiler Break Pod on Twitter.
It's got a lot of responses, a lot more than I thought. So far, 353 votes, which is pretty awesome. We still have over 15 hours left in this. But I had put, just curious to see. I've seen people do this before, but I never really paid attention to the results. But we've always got schools, especially in the Big Ten, that we're not going to cheer for no matter what. Most likely the school up in East Lansing, the school down in Bloomington, we're never going to cheer for them ever.
Nope.
But aside from them, when it comes to the NCAA tournament, do you typically cheer for Big Ten teams to win?
I do. I said yes. I do in the first round, but then I don't want to see somebody make a deep run. I don't care who it is. I get jealous, especially if Purdue gets bounced. But I don't mind if they win first round games. Keep the Big Ten teams in for a little bit and have the Big Ten Network talk them up, and have ESPN and Talking Heads talk up the Big Ten a little bit. But whereas today they're dropping like flies so far.
So as of right now, 353 votes, 83% said yes. I am a hard no. I used to be yes. When I was like growing up, I think probably because my dad, because he does the same thing. He cheers for the Big Ten. It's kind of like, oh, you always cheer for the Big Ten to do well. But then I kind of had the realization. I was like, why? How does that help? Kind of the point of like, how does this help Purdue? It doesn't. Okay, screw everybody.
But do you? And I know this isn't the same, but do you root for Big Ten teams in bowl games?
No, not really. I don't really. I mean, like, I guess it depends on who they play.
That's how it is with me. It depends on the matchup.
In Alabama, or Clemson, I'll probably cheer for Ohio State, depending on excited. I mean, recently, I really like Justin Fields in college, and I like him even more as a Chicago player. But I just loved the way he played the game. So I'd not necessarily cheer, but I was just I'd prefer them to win versus the other team playing.
Sure.
But outside of that, other bowl games, I don't even watch the other bowl games, so I'm not really too worried about it unless they're playing Tennessee or something,
or Notre Dame,
yeah. But especially the tournament, I kind of a couple of years ago, just kind of just stopped caring. I was like, man, if anything, I'd prefer every Big Ten team to lose every game possible, and just shut down their programs. And Purdue just does an inter-squad scrimmage and gets the Big Ten title every year, and I'd be so less stressed.
Yeah, it was a stressful year, even though it's been an unbelievably fun year. It shouldn't have been stressful, but it was.
Looking back at in October, man, it's gonna be great because we're stress freaks. We're not gonna care what's gonna happen. It's gonna be no expectations. Ooh, buddy, how things change quickly.
Really, with how good a coach Matt Painter is, we should get used to.
Yeah.
overachieving at times, or being in contention for that double bye in the Big Ten, because we never have not got it. So we better just be getting used to being stressed every year going forward. And I guess that's a good thing. A lot of people would switch with us in a heartbeat. Illinois fans haven't been outside the first week of the NCAA tournament in 18 years. So
yeah, as much as they want to talk smack, but it's like it's crazy thing about that they have not. A program. Obviously they're not they don't have the history as some of these other schools in the Big Ten, but Illinois basketball is usually pretty good, and they've been a tough out for Purdue in the last couple of years, especially since Underwood's been there. But it's Purdue fans would complain about Sweet 16s. Sweet 16s is a ceiling for Matt Painter, and we get the one Elite Eight every 18 years or whatever. But it's I get Sweet 16 is kind of the baseline. It's we're kind of getting tired of it, but it's also and the alternative is to not even make it out of the first or second round since 2005, which is crazy to think about.
Even for this team, my goal, I haven't won it all, don't get me wrong, but my goal is get to the second week and get to Sweet 16 and then see what happens.
Right. It's just I think especially for now as a 1 seed, it's I feel the pressure's on just to get to the Sweet 16, but I think after that, it's just you take a deep breath. It's okay, we've got a week now to prepare. We got 3 or 4 days to prepare for the next team.
Thad Mooney says no expectation this year. Boy, that escalated quickly. Ron Burgundy.
It did. By Thanksgiving, it was wild. But going back to, Purdue's never had a double bye in the Big Ten tournament since the double bye became a thing, which is again that was kind of pie in the sky. If Purdue can get a double bye in the Big Ten tournament this year, in October, it's that's hey, that's way better than we thought we'd be. I think I can't remember. I should have gone back and listened. But I'm pretty sure I probably thought we were going to get I think I said just finish top half. I think just finish 7th or better.
I think I said 5th or 6th. So yeah, which would have been outside the double bye. So.
Right. Yeah, but Biden says man, if we can get to that 4th spot, that'd be perfect. That'd be can't ask for more than that.
Yep. So it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, Purdue tomorrow 6:50 TNT, Fairleigh Dickinson, and then assuming they win that, they'll get Memphis or Florida Atlantic Sunday, and then get past them. You're looking at
before us or after. I think they play after us.
They do play after us. Yes, they're the last game on TNT tomorrow night. Then. After that, I think we can chalk up Duke as getting the win over Oral Roberts. So America's sweetheart upset pick wasn't even close. I did not fall for that trick. We'll either meet in Madison Square Garden. We'd either meet with Duke, which that's kind of Duke's house out there, which kind of is intimidating, or Tennessee or Louisiana, who play later tonight. Which I do have Louisiana in my bracket, upset in Tennessee. So
yeah, I had Tennessee winning a lot. I did 6 brackets. I think I had Tennessee winning and more of them than not. But
sure.
I wouldn't be surprised, especially the fact that they lost their starting point guard, and their offense just disappears for games at a time. They went from I remember having a friend who's a huge Tennessee fan. We would text each other all throughout the season of whenever bracketology would come out with a new bracket, we were always in the same side of the bracket, and we'd text each other stop, please get away, we don't want to see you. And then we both were number 1 seeds, okay, thank God we're not gonna have to see each other until the Final Four. And then they just kind of we slid back, then they slid back, and they can't keep us apart.
The basketball gods want to place us with Tennessee and Marquette as often as possible. Mm-hmm. Tennessee's in the Maui with us next year. Is Marquette in the Maui too?
Yeah, they are. I think the Maui. Looking at this year's team, they've got. I have to go find the tweet, but it's a ton of regular season champs. And then Florida State, which if they become part of the Big Ten in the future, which is rumored, we'll play them all the time. Mm-hmm. And then also it seems like we play West Virginia quite a bit too. Yeah. So it's those 4 programs the basketball gods want us to play as often as we can. But looking at our bracket, there's still a chance Purdue could meet up with the Big Ten team. That would be Michigan State in the Elite Eight. Yep.
That would be pretty intense.
Could have met up. We could have met up with them in the Big Ten tournament, and then now this would have been. Can you imagine playing team 4 times in a year?
Yeah. Very, very well said. And it's kind of funny looking back on the Big Ten tournament. That old saying of "it's hard to beat a team 3 times." Kai got debunked. Penn State beat Illinois 3 times. We beat Ohio State 3 times, and Penn State 3 times. Mm-hmm.
So I think we were hanging out with one of our buddies at our other friend's wedding, but one of our friends brought up a stat. Like, there actually is a stat out there that's like they say you can't beat a team 3 times or try to beat, but like the team who has beat them, the team who has won already twice wins like over 60% of the time.
It just seems like more often. It seems like in the Big Ten it doesn't happen a lot. But this year did. But we also have. I mean, this East region is kind of the blue blood region. I mean, you got Duke, and you also got Kentucky down there. But then you got good teams like Marquette, Kansas State, Michigan State, of course. But then teams that nobody's talking about, Providence, USC, which I don't know a lot about USC this year. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Basketball outside of Arizona and UCLA.
Nobody stays up to watch it. Bill Walton. But I don't know what Bill's going to do when UCLA joins the Big Ten.
Yeah, especially, and the fact that he's an ESPN announcer, which I mean. So it's kind of a double whammy. One, they're moving. Do you think he moves over to Fox or NBC or CBS? I think he loves the Pac-12 too much.
He loves the Conference of Champions, as he calls it all the time. It just drives me nuts. Yeah, I don't know. That's going to be interesting. But really looking forward to this weekend, and hopefully going forward to next week. Hopefully we're not doing a season recap pod next week. Hopefully we're doing a Sweet 16 preview pod and getting ready for either Duke, Louisiana, or Tennessee.
Go Louisiana.
Yep, go Raging Cajuns. It's because it's been a fun year, and even though it's been stressful at times, I'm not ready for it to end yet.
No. It sucks because, like, as I was kind of texting you earlier today in our group chat, it was like, we're a 1 seed for the first time in our not our lifetime. And the Painter, I mean, I don't remember us being a 1 seed
since '96. Yeah, I mean, we were 3 and 4 respectively.
Yeah. So don't remember that at all. But like, I feel like I just had not been that excited this year. I don't know if it's just the nerves, the anxiety, whatever it is. Like, just me being pissed off. I feel like we got screwed in a draw. Because I was talking with my boss, and I was like, he's like, we're the 4th 1 seed. I was like, okay, like there are 4 seeds that have way better draws than we do. Like, this is stupid. I mean, the fact that you got Auburn, an 9 seed, playing in Birmingham, Alabama. It's like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean,
well, Illinois played in Iowa. I mean, it was a short drive for their fans.
Yeah. But then I saw people on Twitter and all that when the bracket was announced. Like, we thought back in 2019 that we had the bracket of death because you had the returning champions Villanova. Granted, they were a 6 seed, but still, you had Virginia, who was dominant that year. You had Tennessee, who was kind of the antithesis of Purdue. You had like linebackers in their entire starting 5.
Auburn did beat Iowa by 8. Northwestern's up 5 with 8 minutes to play, and Texas can't miss from 3 against Colgate.
Man, I'm kind of pulling for Texas just because of the whole Chris Beard thing. Of like, I mean, but then what do you? I mean, they're probably not going to rehire that. They're probably not going to hire that coach.
I know, but
which sucks.
If you lead them to a Final Four, how can you not?
Right. Yeah, I don't know, because you think they're going to want a marquee name because they can get a marquee name. But yeah, hopefully. I mean, I also hate the fact that Purdue plays at 6:50 on a Friday because I'm just going to be a ball of nerves tomorrow. Granted, I'm feel a lot better that we're playing a 16 seed versus if we were a 5 seed or an 8 or 9 or whatever. But yeah, I wish we played maybe like an early afternoon so I could watch it and then be good for the rest of the day because I'm going to be a nervous wreck all day.
I muted myself. My bad there. Any more thoughts, Webby, as we...
I can't believe March Madness is here already. I think that's the other thing, too. I just feel like this, I going into, back in, starting in August for when football season was getting ready to kick off, I was like, I can, as much as I love basketball more than football, like I can wait until basketball season starts because I, didn't have much expectations this year. And I was also just kind of getting sick of hearing the chatter from those down south about how amazing their season was going to be. But then the season started and it was, exciting. We had all these, a lot of ups, a couple downs, but it's just, I can't believe it's already March and the season's, we're staring down the end of the season. It could be tomorrow, could be in, a couple weeks. Hopefully it's in a couple weeks. But it's just crazy how fast it goes.
Yes, it is. It goes by a blink of the eye. And like I said, I'm just so happy what this team's accomplished. They've probably overachieved this year, but it's been great to watch. Zach Edey.
Likable too. Like that's the thing too. It's not like, you look at, another number 1 seed Alabama and all the crap that they're dealing with, off the court. You look at, even like not out, outside of basketball, like Georgia with Jalen Carter, like that kind of stuff. Like you look at Purdue, it's like all these guys are absolutely incredibly likable. The stuff that they're putting out, the Purdue creative teams put out has been incredible, and I love what they did for the championship game. Seeing Painter, and just be Coach Painter is awesome. Seeing David Jenkins, for a guy, usually I don't really get attached to transfers all that much just because they're usually here for a year or so. But he's been awesome. I feel like the team really has gravitated to him, and I feel like he's been here for a couple of years already. So I'm thankful. Hopefully see a lot of these guys back next year because they're really easy to root for and really fun to root for.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better myself, and it's been fun to see the progress of a lot of guys, especially Zach Edey. Like you said, he's become the dominant force, and he's going to win the National Player of the Year.
So he'll have his name up in the rafters next year.
Deservingly so. So, Webby, I got to take my dog out real quick, so why don't you hit us up with a sponsor read, and I'll be right back.
Absolutely. So first up, which I can actually, I think I've got access to it here. So first up, we've got The Shop, a loyal sponsor of the Boiler Breakdown. They've been making shirts since 2011. They started out in their garages, making sure now they've got 2 brick and mortar locations, one in Carmel, north of Indianapolis, and one in Broad Ripple, north of downtown Indy. Whether you're a Purdue, Indiana, Butler, Ball State, Pacer, Colts fan, Indy 500, with Indy 500s coming right around the corner. With the fact that it's now mid-March, we've got May right around the corner, which is obviously a big time here in the state of Indiana. Excuse me. They've got anything. They're specialized in vintage shirts and apparel. You can check them out. They've got, like I said, 2 brick and mortar locations, or you can go to theshopindy.com. And if you use promo code breakdown, you will get 25% off your entire order. They just released the whole slew of shirts for Bobby Knight. So if you have the delusional fan in your life, it's a shirt.
A lot of old timers around the state will like that. It'll probably sell pretty good.
I'm sure it's gonna sell really.
I just hope that means they're gonna come out with some Gene Katie stuff. But
me too. Which has been great to see him at games lately. I mean, you kind of figured he was hopefully going to come to postseason play, but he's been great to see.
Yeah.
So we got another Gene gift that we can all use now during the Big Ten tournament. Like we had the one back from 2019. Now we can update one with an older Gene, which is unfortunate to see, but glad he's still around. And like I said, it's one of the things that you talk about, Final Four and like just getting it, being able to hopefully he can. It's one we want it. I want it. I know Painter wants it for him too. I think that's the thing is, you want to do it while he's around and can see it. I know there's I don't remember the coach's name, but you look back at 2016 when Villanova won the championship with that incredible shot. I think it was an old Villanova coach was in the stands. You see him like crying. It's like if you imagine like. I want to cry. I think of Gene being able to witness that for Purdue, which I'd be a ball of tears if that ever happened. But I hope you can do it for Gene. Yeah,
we thought we had the Final Four in 2019 with him in the house down the Yum Center.
The thing about that, like I did not see the Virginia game at all, and I knew that Clark turned it over. So seeing him make a wild pass and it not work out for him this year, it doesn't really make me feel better. But I was like, because I think this is his last year. I think.
Yep.
And he kind of bookended his career like with one crazy pass that worked out for him, and then backfired in a big way.
The one back in 2019, he didn't have time to think. This one, he had way too much time to think, and he just didn't think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yep. I couldn't agree with all the things you said about Gene. It's nice to see him every time around this year. He comes back to Mackey for the final few games and then follows the team conference tournament and NCAA tournament. So always fun to see because not every program has that.
Right.
So assuming you didn't do the other sponsor read.
I did not. I just did this is what I was looking for. Yeah, if you're watching, we got shopindy.com promo code breakdown for 25% off your entire order.
And that brings us to our other sponsor of the podcast, which is Mad Mushroom. And let me bring up their I'll I'll start to read anyways. The Boiler Breakdown is brought to you by Mad Mushroom. Mad Mushroom serving Boilermakers since 1993, located in the heart of West Lafayette, is known as the home of the original cheese stick. But whenever we go, we like to sit down and have an ice cold beer while trying out their latest pizza of the month, which this month for March, we're halfway through March, a little over halfway through March, is Hannah's Homemade Veggie Pie. It's a vegetarian refried bean blend with black beans, corn, green peppers, onions, diced tomatoes, and cheddar and mozzarella cheeses. And if that's interest of you, you can order 2 of those, and you'll be over $20, and you can use the promo code BREAK5 online for $5 off any order over $20, or just if you simply go into their store, tell them the Boiler Breakdown sent you, you can also get $5 off any order over $20. And that's Mad Mushroom. Feed your head.
I just saw, not to bring the mood down, but Boilermaker women's basketball team lost by 2 points on the last second shot.
Oh, I kind of, before we started recording, I knew they were down double digits, so I kind of talked myself out of that. There was
I think St. John's kind of took it to them in the third quarter, but nice to see them battle back. But yeah, I mean, just the fact that they even got to the tournament, this year, that was kind of the goal, just get back, for a once, pretty proud program. They'd kind of fallen off for a while. But it's nice to see them get back, and Gerald's, really should have been her first season. But, in her second season, hopefully they can just, build on it and, get back and, get into the actual field of 68.
Oh, yeah, they're ahead of schedule. So
yep.
Keep the train rolling. Train rolling. Well, Webby, any more final thoughts?
I mean, boil the hell up. Let's make a nice easy win tomorrow. Let's all take eat some dinner while the game's going on.
Yeah,
make it nice and easy, and then
order some Mad Mush. Maybe
hopefully watch a Kent State victory later that night.
Yep.
Maybe watch finish the Purdue game, watch the Memphis FAU game, watch the Kent State Indiana game.
Yep.
Cheer hard for Kent State.
Yep.
And let's keep this train rolling. Let's play 6 more games. Let's get 6 more W's. We're undefeated on neutral court, so let's keep that streak alive.
That's true. Good point. Let's boiler up, hammer down, beat the Knights, then either the Tigers or the Owls on Sunday.
Boiler up.